वॉशरूम होगा में भी उन लोगों का ये
घर होगा.
So you just passed the lime pit on your left. Does anyone know what lime pits are used for? Yes? Bricks? Absolutely, yeah. It's a key to brick making. So lime pits contain lime slurry, which can be used as fertilizer to break down bodies or waste. And if you put sand in it, it becomes a really good mortar to bond bricks together and use construction. So a lot of bricks went into this building. Those walls were about 1/2 metre thick, British bond laying on a sandstone base. Very sturdy, thick-walled building with the corridor on the right and 6 rooms on the left. Can anyone guess what the original purpose of that place was?
For prisoners.
Prisoners, yeah. So it was a, did you say jail?
for the
Any
prisoner
particular
jail.
kind of jail?
Solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement. You lot are good on your jails, I can tell you're experts. Brilliant. This is the best group. Now, there's a corridor, room at the front. This was a guard room, a corridor on the right, and on the left, 6 individual solitary confinement cells. This was the solitary confinement jail of Sarah Island, the maximum security punishment for the convicts here, and they did not like it one bit. Funnily enough, they would have rather been lashed, but I'll tell you about that punishment a bit later. Have a look at the dimensions of that room on the left. They're all the same, and they're not generous. 3 feet wide, 6 feet long, and 6 feet high. About the same dimensions as a grave, funnily enough. You can't do anything inside a room like that, apart from contemplate your mortality in total darkness, silence, and isolation. Drove a few people quite mad. It wasn't a nice place to be. The longest stint in there was 17 days. Tallest man to go in one of those cells was 6'7". You can only imagine his predicament inside that room. In the end, funnily enough, it was barely used. It was built as an alternative to the extreme and quite grotesque physical punishments that this island was already becoming notorious for at the time. Punishments carried out by the Macquarie Harbour cat. A cat of 9 tails, a whip with a longer, thicker lash, 7 knots on each strand, and most disturbingly, thanks to Lieutenant Cuthbertson, pieces of lead woven into it to intentionally cause extra damage. So don't feel too sorry for him. In 1825, 230 convicts received 10,000 lashes on this island. Extraordinarily high physical punishment rate, and I do believe 25 was the worst year you could have been here. Our records show that people were desperately trying to escape that year. Escape attempts were desperate and common, and most often ended in death. One gang escaped successfully during that period though. A group of 13 led by Methyu Brady. Methyu Brady went on to become quite a well-known bushranger, but before that he was a convict right here. Him and his gang escaped by stealing the drunken Dr. Garrett's boat. But before they left, they made a promise to the people they were leaving behind. Brady and his gang said they would soon return with their own army and liberate everyone from this hell on earth. Very exciting day for the convicts. They were quite riled up by that. They were quite happy about it, but Governor Arthur didn't like it at all. And in response to that, in an act of suppression, he ordered the first ever execution to take place on Sarah Island. He was to make an example of 3 convicts, death by hanging right behind Government House. Now, records show that execution was the first to ever take place on this island, and it was absolutely the last, because it just didn't have its desired effects on the convicts. See, the convicts cheered for the men on the gallows. They told jokes to each other, and they sang songs that day. In 1825, death on this island was considered by many to be quite a mercy. Many convicts for many years around that time thought death was one of the best ways off this island. So that gives you an idea of what conditions were like here. It was hell on earth. It was one of the worst places you can imagine being. It's like that for many people for many years, so it's worth remembering that, just to acknowledge their suffering, but also because eventually things did start to change. And that's key to this island's history, and I'll tell you about that a bit later on. But first, let's go next door to that brick building and see if you can tell me what that is.